Hello, photographers. Real quick before we get started, the 2020 5-day deal photography bundle is available now, but it's only available until October 20th, 2020. You can get $3,000 worth of photography education for under $100. Check out the link, and now let's get on to the video. In this video, I wanted to show you a quick Lightroom tip that works in Lightroom Classic and the new Lightroom, and that is batch renaming your photos as you export them. So I've had a number of photographers ask me about this because they'll take photos for a client and then they'll have to export the culled set of photos, right? So you've got your whole photo shoot and then you've gone through and you removed all the bad photos, the photos that you know are junk and you don't want the client to see to pick from. You just want them to pick from the best of the photos that you took. So they export those to a gallery, but then the client says, well, I want to see all of the photos because in the gallery they can see the file names, and the file names go like this here on my screen, P7230058 and then P7230087. And they might say, well, what happened to 59 through 86? Why can't I see those? And your answer is, well, because those photos are terrible and I don't want you to see them for whatever reason. But the client might be like, well, I want to see those photos. You can avoid all of that by having renamed sequenced images that your clients will see. So instead of seeing this random set of numbers, they would see client name 001, and then client name 002, and then client name 003 for the photos. This is very easy to do in Lightroom Mobile, Lightroom, and Lightroom Classic. So we'll start in Lightroom Classic. Here on the screen, what we're going to do is select the photos that we want to export. So I've got the first one here. I'm just going to hit Command A on my keyboard to select this whole group. And then I'm going to hit Shift and Command and E to bring up the export menu. Now, whether you're on a Windows or a Mac computer, if you go to File, you can go to Export and figure out what your export shortcut is. And it'll bring up this same menu. And you may or may not have ever used this export tool, but this tool is amazing because you can do all sorts of different things in here. And what we're going to do is create a preset. So the first thing you want to do is figure out where it's going to export to. And I'm just going to export this to my desktop in this full TIFF folder. This is easy enough for me to work with right here. The key here is this file renaming area. And this may be closed when you're in this dialog here. So you may have to click this disclosure triangle to open this. And what we want to do is rename the photo, and we want to rename it to a custom name dash sequence. So when you do that, this is the format, and then you put in your custom name and you put in your start number. So let's say this is Angela, so I'm just going to put Angela and then start at 1. And you can see here it's showing you an example of what the file name will look like. And then you just hit export. Now, here's the nice thing. Once this exports, we're going to open up this folder and take a look. We'll go to my desktop. You'll see all the garbage on my desktop. And here we have Angela 1, Angela 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, which is great. Nice and easy. They just see the numbers in sequence. They don't see any gaps. So that's how you do it on Lightroom Classic. Now let's take a look at how you do it on Adobe Lightroom on the desktop. Same thing, let's select all of the photos. So I just hit Command A to select them all. And then to export, you can either use this little export logo here, or you can go to File and choose Export. Either way, it's going to bring up this dialog. And this looks different from Lightroom Classic, of course. But the key here is to open this More Options disclosure triangle, and then go under File Naming and choose Custom Name. And same kind of thing. Set the name, we'll call this Angela, and set the start number, and choose all of your other settings that you want here, and then you choose export, and we'll export those folders to wherever you want to save them. So here when you export, it asks you where you want to save them. So let's just go to desktop, let's create a new folder, call Angela 2, I can't type but that's fine, and export. Now real quick, I want to jump back to Lightroom Classic while these are exporting because I forgot to tell you how to save your preset. If you want to save this naming setup as a preset, you just go over here to the side and you tap Add and you name this whatever you want to name it. Let's say Sequenced Rename, and then you hit Create. And then if you look under User Presets, now I have this Sequence Rename preset. Now, by default, it's going to be Angela every time, but all you got to do is change this to the client name when you're going to make your export. So maybe next time it's my friend Cecilia, right? So then I just change it to Cecilia, and now when I export these, they'll all be named for Cecilia. Let's jump back to Adobe Lightroom. The export is done, so go back to the desktop, and let's look for my terribly named folder, which was Angela 12. And you'll see here, once again, Angela 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everything's named in sequence. Fantastic. Finally, let me show you how to do it on Lightroom Mobile. Same kind of thing, we got to select our images. So I'm going to tap and hold to select the first image, and then select the rest of the image, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to tap Share at the bottom. And that's going to bring up this menu. So let's just say I want to export these to files. I'm going to hit this little toggle thing on the side here, and that little toggle thing will bring up options. And you choose your file type, you choose the file size. I'm not going to change those, but once again, you go to More Options. And under More Options, we have that same custom name option. And under custom name, you can set a name and a sequence. So this is Cecilia, and I'll just name this Cecilia. And then I will actually run the export. So to run the export now, I need to go back, and I need to hit the check mark to save that. And now I can actually tap the Export to Files option, and it's going to do the proper export tool. And it's going to make the export. So it's going to ask me where to save it. I'll just save it in this demo folder. And boom, that's done. Let's go to my files, and here we go, Cecilia 1 through 5, just like that, sequenced. So that's how you do this on Lightroom on desktop, Lightroom Classic on desktop, and Lightroom Mobile. Easy way to avoid problems with clients asking to see all of your photos by naming them and sequencing them so they don't see any gaps. Thank you for watching, and don't forget about the 5-day deal. In fact, my new video course, Beyond Manual Mode, is launching with this year's 5-day deal. Beyond Manual Mode is all about building on the fundamentals to help you do two things. First is to learn more about the camera and how it works so that you can use your camera to its maximum potential. Second is to embrace and extend your creativity so that you can make images instead of just taking photos. The lessons in Beyond Manual Mode weave together the technical and the creative to give you the tools to start exploring your photography more intensely and more creatively. And like all of my courses, it is packed with fun, practical, and easy to follow lessons to help you bring what's in your head to life in your photos. Specifically, Beyond Manual Mode has 17 brand new video lessons covering things like dynamic range, how to give control back to the camera, color theory, and a bunch more different stuff. And that is just my course. The 5-day deal has courses from amazing educators like Matt Granger, Jessica Whitaker, Joel Grimes, and Jerry Giannis. In fact, I am excited to go through Joel Grimes' One Light Masterclass course. And that is right, I've already purchased the 5-day deal for myself. I mean, why wouldn't I? It is an incredible value. Now, the 5-day deal doesn't last long. It's right in the name, and you only have until October 20th, 2020 to get this deal. So go check it out at this link and then take some damn photos.